Genesis 39. Yosef hurad Mithraima, and Yosef was brought down to Mithraim. Wayiqnehu Potifar Saris Paro Shar Hatabahim Ish Mithri. And Potifar, an officer of Paro, a prince of his guards, a Mithri man, bought him. Miyad Yishma'elim Atar Horiduhu Thama. From the hand of the Yishma'elim, which brought him down to there. Wayahiya Yahweh et Yosef, and Yahweh was with Yosef. Wayahiya Ish Matlih, and he was a man prospering. Wayahiya Bebet Hadonai Hamithri, and he was in the house of his Lord, the Mithri, the Egyptian. Wayar Hadonai Ki Yahweh Hito, and his Lord saw that Yahweh was with him. Wekol atarahu ha'osha Yahweh matlih biyado, and all which he was effectuating, Yahweh was prospering in his hand. Vayimtah Yosef hen be'enau vayesharet oto, and Yosef found favor in his eyes, and he served to him. وَيَفْقِيدَهُ عَلَى بَيْتُهُ, and he mustered him or made him overseer over his house. وَكُلَّ يَشْلُو نَاتَنْ بِيَادُهُ, and all which was for him, his, he gave in his hand. وَيَهْيَ مَهَازَ هِفْقِيدَهُ بِبَيْتُهُ وَعَلَى كُلَّ أَتَرْ يَشْلُو وَيَبَرَّكْ يَهْوَهُ at بيت حمثري بِغَلَالَ Yosef, and it was from when he mustered him in his house and over all which there was for him, Yahweh blessed the house of the Egyptian for the sake of Yosef. وَيَهْيَ بِرَكَةَ يَهْوَهُ بِكُلِّ أَتَرْ يَشْلُو بَبَيْتَ وَبَشَادَ, and the blessing of Yahweh was in all which was for him in the house and in the field. وَيَعْزُ بِكُلِّ أَتَرْ لَوْ بِيَدِ يُوسف, and he left everything which was for him in the hand of Yosef. وَلَوْ يَدَعْهِ مُهُمَا, and he did not know a thing with him. Ki im hallehem atarahu hokel, except the bread which he was eating. Wayahiya Yosef yefe tohar wiyefe mara, and Yosef was beautiful of appearance and beautiful to the sight. Wayahiya achar hadvarim ha'ele, and it was after these words or things, Watisha ethet hadonai et eneha el Yosef, and the woman of his Lord lifted up her eyes upon or toward Yosef. Watomer shikaba immi, and she said, lie thou with me. Wayamahen wayomer elehethet hadonai, and he refused, and he said to the woman of his master, Hen hadoni lo yada'hiti mahbabayit, behold, my master hath not known what is in the house with me. Wikol Atra Yeshalo, Natan Bayadi, and all which there is for him, he gave into my hand. Enenu Gadol Babait Hada Mimani. Walo Hashaka Mimani Muma Kihimeotaka Batar Atahithato. There is not a thing great in this house, or there is not a one great in this house more than me, and he hath not withheld from me anything except thee, because thou art his woman. And how should I effectuate this great evil and sin against God? And it was as her wording to Yosef, daily, daily. Walo hashama ahelaha lishukaba etzalah lihiyot immah. And he would not listen to her, to lie next to her, to be with her. And it was in this day, and he came to the house to effectuate his work. And there was not a man from the men of the house there in the house. And she grabbed him by his clothes, Leamor, saying, Shikaba immi, saying, lie thou with me. And he left his garment in her hand. And he fled, and he went out to the outside. And it was as her seeing it, that he left his garment in her hand. And he fled to the outside. And she called to the men of her house, and she said to them, saying, Ruhu hebi lanu isha every leshahek banu. See ye, he brought for us an every man to laugh at us, or laugh among us. He came to me to lie with me. And I cried out in a great voice. And it was in his hearing, that in his hearing that I raised my voice and I cried out. And he left his garment beside me. And he fled, and he went out to the outside. And she let his garment rest beside her, until the coming of his Lord to his house. And she worded to him like these words, saying, Bahelai ha'ebed ha'ebri atrahe betalanu l'shahek. This, the servant, the Hebrew servant, which thou hast brought to us to laugh at me. He came to me, or he came to me to laugh at me. Wayahi kaharimi qoli wa. And it was as as my lifting my voice, and I called out, cried out, Waya azov bigdo estali, Waya nosaha. And he left his garment beside me, and he fled to the outside. Wayahi kishimoa Adonai et divere hitho atar dibra helai leamor kadvari mahael ashah li abdaka wayharhapo. And it was as his Lord's hearing the words of his woman, which she worded to him, saying, according to these words, he effectuated her. He effectuated it with me. Thy servant, he effectuated it with me. Wayhar apo, and his anger was provoked. Wayikadone Yosef oto, and the Lord of Yosef took him. Wayitnehu elebet sohar, and he gave him to the house of the prison. Mqom atar asire hamelk asurim, the place where those bound of the king were bound. Wayahiatham bevet hasohar, and he was there in the house of the prison. Wayahia Yahweh et Yosef, and Yahweh was with Yosef. Wayetahelau hased, and he extended to him loving kindness. Wayeten hinno be'ene sharbet hasohar, and he gave his favor in the eyes of the prince of the house of the prison. Wayiten sharbet hasohar biyad Yosef et kol hasirim atar bebet hasohar. And the prince of the house of the prison gave into the hand of Yosef all those bound which were in the house of the prison, were etkol atar oshim tham hu haya oshe, and everything which they were doing there, he was the one doing it. En sharbet hasohar rohe et kol muuma biyado batar Yahwehito. The prince of the house of the prison, he was not seeing any little thing in his hand, because Yahweh was with him. And what he was doing, Yahweh was prospering.